oftentimes you'll read where there's a plus and a minus side in balance, okay? Yeah, Job's three friends might have been down on God. The Hebrew...
Were they down on God or they were down on Job, weren't they?
Yeah.
I thought they were down on Job.
Cursing, his wife cursing Job. Let's take up for the women, okay? She knew Job. She knew his heart. She was with him, okay?
What did she actually say to him?
God.
Bless. She said, bless God.
Bless God and die.
It's in the Hebrew. Look it up.
Awesome. Because in the English it says curse.
In every translation.
That's why we gotta learn Hebrew.
Yeah. So wait a minute, let's go to that verse. Everybody in your Bible, mark it out. Put bless.
Job's wife has been given a bad rap.
Yeah.
Now, where,
Let's go to Job.
Yeah, find the verse for me. That's what I'm looking for.
Job chapter 1.
Because we have our Hebrew expert.
Job 2.
Job chapter 1.
Chapter 2.
Thank you. 'Cause I was looking in when I wrote this note there.
Well, I'm glad to know that.
It says curse, but it says nine.
Verse 9.
Verse 9.
Okay, so the last,
See, it's funny.
So it says bless God and die.
It says Barak.
Barak.
The word is Barak.
Barak is blessed.
Yeah, right.
Barak Elohim was
And the word is B.
B-R, Barak.
B-R.
Well, it's B-A-R.
B-A-R-A-K.
B-A-R-A.
So why would she say bless God and die?
Now, I think the better question is, why would we say curse? Why would we translate something and we go, Barakatah Adonai, you know, I mean, curse God?
Do I?
So does this one.
Yeah.
What?
This is Barak.
That one
Is
says
this
curse.
Baruch or Barak?
It
Barak.
says blasphemy.
It's Barak, that's what I'm saying. Why would we ever have translated
In
But
Barak,
everybody
Baruch, is it Baruch or Barak?
Barak?
Either.
B-A-R-A-K?
Either or.
The root is bed, resh, and kaf,
Which is,
which is always blessed or blessed or to bless.
So what-
And it's, really it means to kneel.
Yeah.
So what about verse 10?
so basically she's saying kneel before the Father and die.
So what about verse 10 where it says, mine says you speak as a foolish woman. So if she's blessed, telling him to bless him, why is it says?
Well, because she told him to die, probably, you
And in
know.
Spanish it says dan landis.
Well, and Father, maybe he says that because the Father is about life. Death is not in his vocabulary.
Exactly. You know, how, you know,
See, they're
suicide
making-
is just.
Horrible.
Seen his suffering and her mercy gift, but she wanted him to have relief.
Just put it into yourself. But God says, no, life is such a blessing, Lord. Death is not, he hates it. Because he didn't, yeah,
He still had hope.
he still had hope. That's cool.
But,
Okay.
you know,
Jim?
you have to look at what she gave up. She gave up all of her children. All of
Oh,
her children.
she lost everything, too.
Was Job's motivation, or we're just talking the analogy with the children before, mom and dad going out. Okay, why did the kids behave that night and next morning, okay? Why does, you're saying your analogy, and you're talking about the husband and wife, okay? And why you have expectations in what you do and what you don't do, and then you write, Yod Vav up there.
I'm not saying that we're not to do those things.
Yeah,
I'm
but
just
the
saying,
motivation.
what's the motivation
The
of doing those things?
motivation is more than just love, too. Psalms 27, if you're reading this month, okay, verse 4, you know that old cowboy, the one thing? Psalms 27:4, the one thing have I desired of the Lord that I will seek after, okay?
His face.
So you're made with a void in you. So wherever you live and your motivation and you're seeking God, okay? Yeah, you may be having some wrong motivation as children overnight, what you're behaving and doing. Okay, but if you're seeking, the love will still come forth. Okay, I believe God will honor it.
Oh, he will.
Okay, just following through with it.
Right.
And then you wanted to know where we're at. Okay, Well, we're just talking.
Yeah.
Okay, are you a bride and a wife? Are you a concubine? Okay, so there's a status there. Wherever you're growing up in the kingdom, if you're seeking, okay, you may get close to the castle, you may get close to the king, but are you a bride?
Right.
So seeking will bring you through that.
And it will. And the thing about it is, back down to it. Do I worship the Father to bring Him joy? Or do I worship the Father to bring me joy?
Him joy.
But if I bring Him joy, I, in reward, get joy. That's awesome.
It's the same thing with love.
It is love.
In the Hebrew, within the word love is the word give.
It is.
I think a real picture of that relationship that we're talking about is the difference of the terminology is sometimes put as seeking the face of God rather than seeking the hand of God.
Yes.
And that's motivation.
Yes.
It's both is seeking, but there's the motivational difference. Am I seeking God's face, His relationship, or am I seeking His hand? Like,
What He could do for you.
yeah.
What do we do? With my wife, do I love her because she's an awesome cook?
I hope so.
That helps.
Oh, it does help. And she is an awesome cook.
But you don't love her.
But do I sit there and do things for her so that when I come in, I smell that wonderful meal cooking? Put it this way, if I loved her for that reason and that reason only, she wouldn't be cooking for me very long.
Well, yeah, I mean, you could hire a chef.
But the love, because of the love, one of the benefits I get is that meal in return.
Real estate.
Been thinking a little bit more of this balance or this fairness, the blessings and blessings. And so often we look at it upon our scale of good or bad, blessings or cursing. And we really, as in Job here, it looked like he was so cursed. He was, given so much. But yet in the grand scheme of things, he was extraordinarily blessed, and it even shows that after this, that he was blessed. And throughout, we look so many times of, is it fair? And we are taking different things. Well, this person got that, or this person got sick, or this person was cursed, or this person was blessed. And you can look at so many different things that we see through life. But we are doing that and balancing this upon our own scale of right or wrong, good or bad, blessing or cursing on this. We need to be able to trust in Yahweh because His scale, look at as far as just within the earth, none of us can spin this earth. None of us, have that level of power. But yet, He looks at us and He takes care of us and He blesses us. But, somebody else He took care of better, or why did this person get cursed? Job would be a perfect example here. We don't understand God's level of fairness or balance. He can make the stars. He can set the wind. He can make the clouds, all of this stuff. And none of us have the power to do any of that, but yet we want to balance things on our scale. Is it fair on that? And trying to, since it is so large and so basically incomprehensible, we need to have the trust in God, in Yahweh, of what goes on. And that's trying to get this fairness or the blessings and the cursings where is it balanced? We, as people here, don't have that level of understanding to be able to see that balance.
Right. So that brings me to the next thought in this Torah portion. The two mountains. Okay, and what I did is I gave you the tribes of Israel in the order they're in, so you can read them later and you can kind of see the picture that he's trying to paint using those names. But I want to go back and what is the thing that we've seen so far? He's bringing us in to show how great he is, how great his name is, and use us as a sign to the nations to bring them in, correct? Now, this on Mount Ebal, you have 6 tribes on one side, you have 6 tribes on the other, and they're yelling out these blessings and cursings. For whose benefit?
Everybody who's in the middle?
Where did they do it?
Shechem.
Let's go to Deuteronomy 11, and I want to show you something I saw this morning. Deuteronomy 11:29. Well, 26, let me start at 26. See, I'm setting before you today a blessing and a curse. The blessing if you obey the commands of the Lord your God I'm giving you today. The curse if you disobey the commands of the Lord your God and turn away from the way I command you today by following other gods, which you have not known. When the Lord your God has brought you into the land and you are entering to possess it, you are to proclaim on Mount Gerizim the blessings, and on Mount Ebal the curses. As you know, these mountains are across the Jordan, west of the road toward the setting sun, near the great trees of Moreh, in the territory of those Canaanites living in the Iraq, in the vicinity of Gilgal. Who lives there in this land when they're to proclaim these curses and blessings?
Canaanites.
So is it for Israel to hear these blessings and curses? Have they be told all these things and warned about all these things? And they're supposed to set up these temples and write the word on there? Is it for their benefit or the benefit of the nations around them?
The nations around them.
For both.
Both, yeah.
For both. Maybe. Because they're proclaiming, they're yelling. Don't you think those nations are going, cursed if I do this. Well, I do that. Cursed if I do this. I'll do that.
Another thing that we don't get just for reading scriptures is even years ago, when the last time I saw Gerizim and Ebal, it's like there's a valley in between them, and Gerizim is all plush and full of trees, and it looks like a beautiful mountainside in Colorado. And Ebal looks like
It's a bald mountain.
it's totally bald, you know. And so that's part of this.
Now, is this,
The curses are it's like a word picture. Okay, you're going to be like this bald mountain with no blessings, you know, if you disobey. And you're going to be like this plush, beautiful green, you know, lots of evergreens, if
So-
you obey.
so we have, I'm just thinking, I've never been there. I've not been to Israel. Is this in the land or outside the land?
It's in the land.
But it's right as you go in, right?
Well, Shechem is,
So they cross the Jordan.
it's a ways.
It is a ways.
Yeah, because it says even here, it says toward the sunset.
Okay. So it's,
It's to the west.
but it's a valley you have to go through to get to, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Shechem is in the valley. Okay, there's a
So
city.
it's right here, so you got a bunch of people over here, and you got a bunch of people over here.
Exactly, yeah,
Helping each other.
right.
And then they have 2 big old stones set up right here with the word of God on it, right? With the Torah on it?
Jim,
Yeah.
a little latitude on the geography.
Yeah,
It's a flat plain.
it's a flat place.
It's flat?
In the middle.
Yeah, Champagne in the Bible. There's a flat spot, okay?
In the middle,
So it's like this,
yes.
Yeah, then a mountain,
and then a mountain.
trees, and mountain with bald. No trees. Yeah.
No, they're the same size, basically, the same size.
Are they mountains or hills?
A little bit
They're
They're
more.
mountains. You wouldn't all climb it.
green, remember she said.
They're pretty big, yeah. Lots of trees, all over the place.
Okay, and so, and then we have,
But no, that wasn't in Shechem.
where's this at? No, I'm talking about, they had to put up this,
Yeah, I know,
and
but
plaster it,
that was-
and put the words on it, where's that? It was
It's
in
on the
here?
other side.
Inside the Jordan?
It was on the mountains, I
Oh, it was on the map.
think. Well, you know, it may have been close to the mountains, but there's a whole city down there in the middle.
But people traveling through here, they're gonna see the green lush, they're gonna see the bog, they're gonna see his words.
Right.
Yeah, and the stones were put in the valley, they're put on Gerizim, right?
Yeah,
Yep.
thank you.
So
That's what I
it's sort of
was-
like you see the words and you see the bounty.
Yeah,
The other side doesn't have his words and it's barren.
Ah,
Historical landmark at number 101.
so this is a witness.
Is it ever?
It's a witness to whom?
a witness to everyone.
To everyone.
And even
To the
today it
nations.
is, because today Mount Gerizim is still lush and beautiful, and Mount Ebal is still barren.
So, if Israel had been obedient, and the nations who live out there doing their own thing, and in 4 verse 8 are jealous because they're like, what is it that they do? They could come up to the door, read his word, see the blessings, see where they live, and say, oh, I want to grab his seats
You know,
and
just-
come in.
Just like the prophet said, multitudes, multitudes in the valley of decision. That's where Shechem is. Shechem is right there in the middle. So Shechem is the one that's having to decide, do I want the blessing or do I want the curse? And what the Israelites did was to take on the Canaanite religion rather than allowing the witness of God to change the Canaanites. They allowed the Canaanites to change
Them.
and that's
So-
what we do.
so-
We have the truth, we have the witness. And if we obey, then we have the blessings.
So,
And those blessings are to be a testimony to the world, not for us, but for them, for
So,
everyone.
this is the benefit for honoring his name.
And for obeying
It's
his word.
the
And-
signpost, if you will, sort
It
of
is the signpost,
Yeah,
points to him.
but it shouldn't be the reason that we do it.
exactly, yes.
That's what I was trying to bring home today.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's like
And
that,
that's a
like we
good
talked
point.
about as a sign. It's not the destination, it's the thing that points you.
I just think there's another related thing, and I think it's real interesting, and it's how the words, like, we go back to the Hebrew language and words that English kind of have a relationship of sometimes. Anyway, that Mount Ebal, you know, the B's and B's are awfully similar, and in English, that would be Mount Ebal.
Mm, yeah.
So, I mean, I just think it's kind of
Yeah.
interesting.
That
And
is,
then the other one starts with a G, which would be good.
there's the. That's the pleasant one.
Just so that, just for reference point, when you were talking about the Hebrew, we have the two we're talking about Deuteronomy 11, where we see them being blessed and cursed in Gerizim and Ebal, and then also in 28 here. The blessing is the same. It's Barak and Barakah, which is just plural. They're making it plural, blessings. But the evil, or the curse, is actually, they're two different words.
Right.
In 28, it's arar, which is we first find it in 3:14 when he talks to the serpent and says, you'll be cursed. It's that kind of a curse that he gives to the serpent. Whereas in 11, the curses, it's kalal. It's a different, and that's first seen when Jacob is worried that when he goes in and kind of deceives his father, he's going to be cursed. That's the kind of a curse. It's a different, I guess you'd call it a different curse than what the serpent received. Little bit of a difference, you know, but
That's a good point.
the blessing is the same. The blessing is consistent. The cursing is a little bit different. And obviously in 28 where we're at, much more severe curse.
And why?
It's the curse that was given to the
Why the
serpent.
difference, you think?
Well, because Jacob is blessed.
In 28, they're inside the land.
Oh,
So when you do
Ooh.
something that messes up his namesake in the land, like give it away, or have abortions and the innocent blood on it, then you're really under a serpent curse.
and the serpent was in the land, obviously, was committing
Right,
those crimes in the land.
Okay,
Yeah, so they had to choose between God and the serpent.
so for homework,
Mhm.
Test?
homework.
He's going to teaching again, Lord.
You may have read these.
Hey, Jim, let me just say one thing before you go there. Again, talking about words, and in addressing what Job's wife, what it does say is it says that that word can euphemistically mean curse. But the only way I was talking to Gabriel, the way we would look at it, almost say, "Oh, hey man, you look bad today.
Oh, that's not good.
Exactly.
You look bad
Yes.
today. Oh, that looks
That's
really bad.
different. Yeah.
You know, were they colloquial? I don't know, but
Yeah,
it's
that's more like it.
the correct. You know, that would be
We're right.
sort
I
of
don't
an
care-
idiomatic way
I
of
don't
looking
care
at
what
it.
a theologian, that's where that comes from.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know,
It's
all
sort of
the-
like saying,
Yeah.
you know, it's really very colloquial.
Right,
It's not literal.
right.
An idiom, per se?
Yeah, it's an idiom,
An
if you
idiom.
will. Yeah, it's idiomatic,
But
more
it
so
still
than it
means
is
to
literal.
bless.
Yeah.
What am I writing down?
Where?
Yeah, no.
No, no, how about?
Debar,
No, I'm not
Different
doing
read.
his work.
Deverine, excuse me, you're right, which is where we're at, huh? How appropriate.
This is homework.
What's up, bud?
I've been accused of using too many scriptures during the day when it was up here, so I'm going to assign this homework.
That's what I was dreading.
Ready, the word? No.
I'm just giving them a hard time.
And this is okay. These verses right here. Does anybody know what those are? They all deal with? This is the prophecy. God prophesied, if you don't do this, I'm going to drive you into the nations. He told us that today, didn't he?
Yeah.
If you don't do this, if you don't worship me, if you don't keep my commandments, if you do these things in my land, then I'm going to do this to you. This is the confirmation of that prophecy. So if you want to read the story and see what God did and see that God says what he says is true, this is true. But there's good news in these stories.
Gonna bring it back.
Yes, he's going to bring us back. But that's not, he didn't say that in today's Torah portion, though. But it does come soon. But you need to read these, and you need to be familiar with the stories. Now, I was thinking this week, you know, I am not truly grateful for what I have. Think about it. What time and day do we live?
He's gonna come.
Me.
He's gonna come. The other thing is, how many people prior to the printing press had this?
Very good. Rabbis. The priests. The rabbis? Priests.
The rabbis
kings.
and the priest. You know, men seek after
Was the kings
wealth
back.
and gold and riches and honor for their name. But how much more valuable is what I hold in my hand? Isn't it amazing? Our fathers did not have a way to sit down other than maybe once a week with a rabbi or with a pastor because they couldn't afford this or had it available. They had to trust another man in what he said.
Isn't that what we're doing today?
No, you better not trust what I say. You better
No,
go read
no,
for
I'm
yourself.
saying, we're trusting other men,
Yes.
you know, and
And the biggest blessing we can have is this. If someone asks you about the word, should you preach to them or should you say, hey, have you read it for yourself?
point them. Be
Point them
that,
to this.
be that
I bet if I
Gerazim.
said that once, I said it 100 times this week. There's one particular guy at my shop
Read
that
it, read it.
battles me. Well, I know it's in the scripture. Well, if you're gonna tell me where it's at, tell me where it's
Just
at.
read it.
Have
This
you read
blessed-
it for yourself? Well,
This blessed me. There's a woman who my wife and I know. She came over the house one day and she was just dead sin. She was like Job. She was ready to bless God, and
No.
we led her to the Lord that night.
Mm-hmm.
We gave her hope. And I gave her a year Bible. And I told her this. I said, I don't care where you go to church, but I want you to do this. I want you to take this and I want you to read it. I don't want you to take what anybody tells you as truth. I want you to take this and read it for yourself and you understand what the truth is. Let the Spirit talk to you. Talking to her the other day. And she said for about 6 months, she didn't really do that. But then she got into it. Something told her to get into that word. So she's made her all the way up to around Jeremiah. She's not understanding 100% what she's reading. How many understood this the first time you went through it? But she keeps plowing through it.
how many times do you skip Leviticus?
And she comes to my little Bible study out here. So she comes out here to my little Bible study, and the other day she's driving along the road, and there's this woman sitting on the underpass. She's like, So she pulls, goes all the way around. It wasn't easy. She stops. She goes, "Are you okay?" And she goes, "No."
No.
And she goes, "Really? Well, I'm going to Sunday school. We have a lot of fun. We read the Bible. Would you like to come?" And she says, "Yes."
Wow.
So this strange woman shows up with her. And my friend Betty, that's her name, she goes like, she was just there, so I picked her up. And here we are. And we started, and I'm in Genesis, and we're reading, and this little lady chimed right in. Didn't see her last week, but I saw her this last weekend. The weekend before is what I'm talking about. Guess what she had in her hand? The Bible I gave to Betty. Now, my concept of kingdom living is this. We were born outside His kingdom. Why were we born outside His kingdom?
Sin.
Okay. God